Mohammed Shakar and his family fled Mosul in June last year during the battle against ISIL. Their home was destroyed. Like many of the 2 million people in Iraq displaced by violence in recent years, they live in a camp for the internally displaced.
We are asking politicians to look after everyone equally, regardless where they are from, and especially those living in camps. We don't want charity, we want to go home, and we don't want money in return for our votes.
The Iraqi government says 166 polling stations are being set up in 70 camps in time for Saturday's parliamentary election. Camp chiefs say candidates from a number of parties have visited, but apart from a poster, there's little sign of election campaigning here. Only around 25 families of the 1,350 living in this camp have returned to the areas they fled during the battle against ISIL. The vast majority of the people here are Sunnis, and their homes have been completely destroyed. It's when you speak to people here, many of them say that even if they could return to the areas they lived in, they have very little faith in politicians because they feel so let down and discriminated against by previous Shia-led governments. The government says it's going to cost $2 billion to rebuild Mosul. 40,000 homes were destroyed in the west of the city alone. Every few days, people who used to live there gather in the camps to collect food handouts. Off camera, some tell us that when ISIL took control of Mosul in 2014, many among the city's predominantly Sunni population believed ISIL may improve their lives after what they describe as so many broken promises by the Baghdad government. But they say that quickly changed when they began to experience the brutality of life under ISIL. Rifa Abdullah fled the fighting in Mosul in July last year. She blames the government for ISIL and the suffering she and her family endure in the camps.
We only want to go home. It's inhumane living here. The other day it rained and our tent flooded. We are only asking politicians to rebuild our homes. This is the least of all human rights. It's the fault of the government that brought this calamity on us.
Winning the trust of Mosul's Sunni population is going to be a major challenge for the new government if it is to prevent Iraq's sectarian divide getting wider. For Mohammed and hundreds of thousands of people like him, the first step towards winning that trust would be rebuilding their home so they can start rebuilding their lives. Stratford, Al Jazeera, Hassan Sham Camp, Northern Iraq.